Right now, 44% of married couples are keeping this massive secret from their spouse.
Wow, almost half.
Yeah, nearly half. And it's not a secret second family or, a hidden past. It's their paycheck.
That is wild.
Right. Nearly half of married people are actively hiding their exact earnings from the person they share their life with.
Which just shows how intense this topic is.
Exactly. So today we're doing a deep dive into the one thing that drives our daily decisions, occasionally ruins relationships, and has some of the absolute best vocabulary in the English language.
Money!
I am so ready for this.
And welcome, everyone. I'm your co-host, and we were on a very specific mission today for this video on the Mini English Tips channel.
We really are. I'm your host, and look, our goal today isn't just to give you some boring financial glossary to memorize.
No, definitely not.
We want to give you the practical, real-world vocabulary, the idioms, the phrasal verbs, everything you actually need to navigate daily life in English.
Because, translating financial terms in your head word for word, it usually leaves you sounding really stiff or just unnatural.
Like a walking textbook.
Exactly. Mastering this specific vocabulary instantly upgrades your conversational English. Whether you're negotiating a salary or just trying to survive the sheer awkwardness of splitting a dinner bill with 6 friends.
Oh, the worst. But it really takes you from sounding like a student to sounding like a local.
And understanding these terms is, well, it's fundamentally about understanding cultural attitudes.
How so?
Well, the idioms a society uses to describe money, how we earn it, how we hoard it, how we throw it away, they tell you exactly how that culture views success and struggle.
I love that perspective. So let's just start at the very beginning of the financial life cycle.
The incoming cash.
Right. Before you can argue over a dinner bill, money actually has to come in. You have to earn it. And the English language makes some pretty sharp distinctions about how you get paid.
It really does. So the foundation of traditional employment is the salary.
The classic.
Right, the classic salary. When you earn a salary, you're agreeing to a fixed annual amount. And that gets divided up and paid to you monthly or bi-weekly.
So the key concept there is stability.
Exactly. Your income doesn't change, regardless of whether you work 40 hours a week or, 60 hours.
Which, let's be honest, can sometimes feel like a total trap if you're the one working those 60 hours.
Very true.
And that is exactly where an hourly wage comes in. With an hourly wage, you are paid a specific amount for every single hour you're actually on the clock.
It's entirely transactional.
Yeah, highly transactional. But the real shift we're seeing in modern conversational English is the rise of the gig.
Oh, the gig economy. It has completely changed our vocabulary.
It really has.
So a gig means you're paid per completed job or project, which is, standard for freelancers.
Where does that word even come from? It sounds like music.
You are spot on. It originally comes from the jazz world in the 1920s.
Oh, really?
Yeah, musicians would play a single, one-night engagement, and they called it a gig.
That makes so much sense. And now, driving for a rideshare app or designing a website on a freelance contract, it's described the exact same way.
You're completely untethered from a salary.
Right. But regardless of whether it's a salary, a wage, or a gig, we all absolutely worship payday.
The best day of the week.
Or month.
Getting your paycheck is the universal reward. Though, historically, an employer handed you a physical paper check.
Right, which you then had to physically take to a bank.
So tedious. Today, you're way more likely to receive a direct deposit. The money just magically materializes electronically in your bank account overnight. And the moment that direct deposit hits, a whole new psychological challenge begins.
Managing it.
Managing it. In English, we call this creating a budget.
The dreaded B word.
It really is dreaded. But a budget is just the conceptual framework for dividing your fixed income.
Yeah.
The money for sure is coming into 2 very strict categories.
Needs versus wants.
Exactly. Needs versus wants.
See, I struggle with this distinction because the line gets blurry so fast.
How do you mean?
Well, a need is supposed to be something required for basic human survival, right? Shelter, running water, basic groceries.
Right. Essentials.
And a want is the extra stuff. A fancy new jacket or, buying a $5 artisanal coffee every single morning instead of just making it at home.
We're all guilty of that one.
Yeah, we are. But where does something like a smartphone fit?
Oh, that's a great question.
Because technically, you don't need it to breathe. But you try getting a job or navigating a modern city without one.
That ambiguity is exactly why budgeting is notoriously difficult.
It's so hard.
But once your undeniable needs are covered, rent, basic food, utilities, whatever is left over, is classified as disposable income.
Disposable income.
And that term itself is fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah, because disposable implies it can just be thrown away, like a disposable cup.
Exactly. It suggests you can use it up casually. And this is the pool of money most vulnerable to impulse buys.
Oh man, impulse buys are the absolute destroyer of disposable income.
They really are.
You walk into a store just to buy milk, right? And then you see this sleek new gadget or a pair of shoes you never planned to buy, and you grab it.
The impulse completely overrides the logic.
It totally does. So to combat that impulse, you really have to talk about saving.
Yes. And the vocabulary we use here is incredibly spatial and physical.
What do you mean by spatial?
Well, we use phrasal verbs like set aside or put aside, even if you're in a digital banking environment. The language suggests you're physically picking up the money and moving it away.
Moving it out of your daily line of sight.
Precisely.
My absolute favorite visual idiom in this category is to squirrel away money.
Oh, that's a great one.
You just picture this frantic little squirrel in the autumn, aggressively gathering nuts and hiding them in trees to survive the freezing winter.
It's so vivid.
Right. And that is the exact energy you're channeling when you aggressively save your cash. You're squirreling it away.
It's a brilliant image of preparation. And another major idiom tied to preparation is saving for a rainy day.
A rainy day fund.
Yes. In English idioms, rain almost always symbolizes hardship or unexpected trouble.
So a rainy day fund isn't money for a beach vacation?
No, definitely not. It's money reserved for a sudden medical bill or, a blown car engine.
You're basically buying an umbrella before the financial storm hits.
That's a perfect way to put it.
And if we're talking about physical preparation, we can't ignore the piggy bank.
Oh, the classic piggy bank.
It's a bit of old-fashioned charm, right? A literal ceramic pig where you drop your spare coins. But that physical act of dropping change in every single day, it reinforces the habit of saving.
It really does. But, once you've properly squirreled away your rainy day fund, the tension naturally shifts.
To how we spend the rest of it.
Exactly. And the English language is fiercely expressive when it comes to the extremes of pricing.
Let's focus on the thrill of the deal first, because finding something cheap is practically a sport.
Oh, for sure.
If the price is incredibly low, you'd say it's dirt cheap. Because dirt is everywhere, it costs nothing, so the item is practically free.
Right. You might also hear that an item is going for a song.
Going for a song. I always like that one.
It has a really rich history, actually. It dates back to street singers or beggars who would perform a song for a mere penny.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So if you buy a beautiful vintage table at a market for almost nothing, you bought it for the price of a cheap street performance.
That's amazing. And in the UK, you might hear the very rhythmic, satisfying phrase, as cheap as chips.
Comparing the price to a serving of French fries.
Exactly. And the person who lives for these phrases, that's the bargain hunter. They will spend hours searching for that dirt cheap deal.
But what happens when we hit the opposite extreme?
When things are expensive.
Right. The language turns surprisingly violent and dramatic.
It really does turn violent.
Yeah, if a car or a house is wildly overpriced, someone will complain that it cost an arm and a leg.
Just casually, metaphorically amputating limbs to afford a house.
Exactly. The price is so steep, it requires a physical amputation. Or you might say you had to pay through the nose.
See, I've always wondered about pay through the nose. It sounds like a horrific medical procedure.
It really does, and the most common historical theory actually points to 9th century Viking conquests in Ireland.
Wait, Vikings?
Yeah. The myth goes that the Vikings imposed an aggressive tax on the local population, and if you refused or you couldn't pay, the punishment was having your nose slit.
Oh my gosh, that is brutal.
Right. Now, historians debate the literal truth of it, but the phrase perfectly captures the agonizing pain of parting with an unreasonable amount of money.
I will say, to use a much less violent idiom, you could just say it cost a fortune.
That works too, much safer.
But this brings up a massive point of friction in how we judge people's spending habits, and I want to test where the line is here.
Okay, let's hear it.
If I meticulously track my budget, I buy things on sale, and I refuse to overpay, am I frugal or am I cheap?
Ah, that's a great distinction. The line is drawn entirely by context and impact.
Okay.
Frugal is a strong compliment. It implies you're financially responsible, efficient, and thoughtful with your resources.
And cheap.
Cheap is an insult. It means your desire to save money has crossed into being unreasonable, and it's often at the expense of others.
Got it. So a frugal person buys a reliable used car instead of a flashy new one.
Exactly. A cheap person, or a penny pincher, invites you to dinner and then refuses to leave a tip for the waiter just to save a few dollars.
A penny pincher. And there is a hilarious slang phrase for a penny pincher in that exact restaurant scenario. Having T-Rex arms.
T-Rex arms.
Yes. Just visualize a massive Tyrannosaurus Rex with those comically tiny little arms.
Oh, I see where this is going.
Right. When the restaurant bill arrives at the table, the cheap person suddenly develops T-Rex arms. They're aggressively reaching for their wallet, but miraculously, their arms just can't quite reach their pockets in time.
That is a fantastic visual. They want you to pay.
They absolutely want you to pay.
But, on the opposite side of the T-Rex arms is the person dealing with an overwhelming psychological urge to spend.
Yes.
We describe this by saying the money is burning a hole in their pocket.
I love the urgency of that phrase. It implies the cash is literally on fire, causing actual physical discomfort until you get rid of it.
And that is the exact moment you decide to splurge.
To splurge. Or as they often say in the UK, to splash out.
Right. And splurging is an entirely emotional financial decision. You're buying something luxurious specifically to treat yourself. It totally defies the logic of the budget.
You splash out on front row concert tickets or you splurge on a designer bag. It's a massive want, not a need.
Absolutely.
But splurging rarely happens in isolation, right? We usually spend money out in the world, surrounded by friends, which leads us to the absolute minefield of social money dynamics.
Navigating a restaurant bill in a group setting really tests both your vocabulary and your social grace.
It's so stressful sometimes.
It can be. But if you want to generously cover the entire cost for the table, English offers several effortless phrases. You can simply state, "I'll get it," or "It's on me."
Or you can frame it as a gift by saying, "My treat."
Exactly.
Or you can use the classic idioms, offering to foot the bill or pick up the tab.
But let's be real. You don't always want to foot the bill for 6 people.
Definitely not. The alternative there is to ask everyone to chip in. You're asking each person to contribute a small chip of the total cost so the burden is shared.
And when you're on a date, or maybe just with a close friend, the dynamic shifts to going Dutch.
Going Dutch.
Which means you split the bill exactly down the middle, or you each pay precisely for what you consumed.
Where does that come from?
The origin is rooted in the 17th century maritime rivalry between the English and the Dutch.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The English began using the word Dutch as a pejorative and insult to describe anything they found unrefined or backwards.
Wow.
So to the English gentleman, making a guest pay for their own meal was considered terrible manners. Hence, they called it a Dutch treat, or going Dutch.
That is fascinating, and it brings us right back to the statistic I mentioned at the very beginning of this deep dive.
The 44%.
Exactly. 44% of married couples keep their exact earnings secret. Because money is deeply tied to pride, guilt, independence, and control.
It's so loaded.
Yeah, how we split the bill or who pays for what. It's never just about the math.
It's entirely about the relationship dynamic. Now, when people are chipping in, they're often pulling physical cash out of their wallets. And the vocabulary for physical currency is an entirely separate dialect.
It really is. If you're in the United States, you rarely hear people use the formal word dollars in casual conversation.
Right, you hear bucks.
Yeah, $50,
Yeah.
$100. And if you're talking about thousands, you use the slang grand.
Like a used car might cost 10 grand.
Exactly.
And the coins themselves each have specific, non-numerical names in North America.
Right. Nobody says 1 cent.
No, the 1 cent coin is a penny, 5 cents is a nickel, 10 cents is a dime, and 25 cents is a quarter.
And Canada takes it a step further with some brilliant local flavor.
Oh, the loonie.
Yes. Their $1 coin features an engraving of a water bird called a loon. So naturally, the entire country refers to the coin as a loonie.
That's so charming.
It gets better. When the government later introduced a $2 coin, the rhyming slang was irresistible. It instantly became the toonie.
I love that. Physical money is so deeply cultural. It really carries the history and values of a nation.
Definitely.
For instance, the UK 10-pound note features the face of Charles Darwin.
The scientist who developed the theory of evolution,
Exactly.
which is actually incredibly fitting because physical money is undergoing its own rapid evolution right now.
Oh, great transition.
Thanks. The language of finance has fundamentally shifted as our wealth has moved from leather wallets into the digital ether.
Let's look at everyday digital banking vocabulary because the key here is the divide between formal terminology and conversational phrasing.
Right.
In a formal banking app, or when speaking to a loan officer, You withdraw funds to take them out, and you deposit funds to put them in.
But if I'm just talking to a friend at a coffee shop, I would never say, I need to withdraw funds.
No, you sound like a robot.
I would say, I need to take out some cash, or I need to put in a check. And if I'm paying you back for dinner, I simply transfer the money to your account.
And the technology driving these transfers is designed to entirely remove the physical friction of parting with your money.
It's dangerously easy now. I mean, we went from counting out pennies to swiping magnetic cards to the current standard of tap and go.
Right, tap and go.
You don't even hand the card to the cashier anymore. You just tap the plastic against the machine, and the transaction is approved in half a second.
It's seamless.
But wearable tech is where it gets truly sci-fi.
You're referring to paying with devices attached to your body.
Exactly. You can have an NFC chip embedded in a room or even a coat sleeve. You wave your wrist near the terminal and boom, you've bought a coffee.
That's incredible.
And there are even biometric systems rolling out that scan the unique map of veins beneath the skin of your finger to authenticate a payment.
Right.
Your actual physical body becomes your wallet.
And this digitization of wealth, it really reaches its absolute peak with cryptocurrency.
Oh, crypto.
When Bitcoin was released in 2009, it introduced an entirely new vocabulary into global finance.
Yeah, suddenly people were talking about the blockchain and decentralized finance, and the amounts of money involved became staggering.
Absolutely staggering.
Elon Musk famously invested $1.5 billion of Tesla's cash right into Bitcoin.
Just a casual $1.5 billion.
Right. But the digital creation of this money comes with a massive physical cost.
Yeah, you're talking about the energy required for mining.
Yes.
Mining is the computationally intense process used to generate new Bitcoins and verify transactions.
Yeah.
And the electricity required to run these global server farms is colossal.
Colossal doesn't even cover it. The Bitcoin network's energy consumption actually surpassed the entire annual energy use of the country of Argentina.
That is just hard to wrap your head around.
An invisible currency uses more power than a massive South American nation.
That statistic is alarming. However, context is vital when dealing with data.
Oh, wait, lay it on me.
To put that energy use into perspective, the home appliances left constantly on standby mode in the United States alone.
Wait, like microwaves?
Yeah, the microwaves blinking the time, the television's waiting for a remote signal. They consume twice as much electricity yearly as the entire global Bitcoin network.
Wait, really?
Really?
The phantom power from appliances we aren't even using doubles the energy of crypto.
It does. It completely changes the narrative, doesn't it?
It totally does. Maybe the best way to save the planet and save money is just to literally unplug the TV.
It's a good start.
But look, wherever massive amounts of digital money flow, criminals inevitably follow.
Yes. The digital age requires a really robust vocabulary for cybersecurity.
It's essential now.
We have to protect ourselves against malware, which is malicious software designed to infiltrate your devices.
And that leads to massive data breaches, right? Where millions of passwords and financial records are stolen and sold.
Exactly. And the fraudsters are terrifyingly sophisticated now. They don't just guess your password anymore. They use a technique called OSINT.
OSINT. Open source intelligence.
Right. OSINT relies on the trails of public information you willingly leave on the internet.
It's so creepy.
It is. Criminals scrape your LinkedIn to see where you work, they scan your Instagram to see the names of your pets, and they check public records to find your address.
So OSINT is basically like a burglar who doesn't even need to pick your lock.
Exactly.
Because they spent a month watching you from the street, noted exactly what time you leave for work, and saw you hide the spare key under a fake plastic rock.
That's a great analogy. And they use that open source intelligence to build a deceptive cover story.
A cover story.
Right. So they call you, pretending to be your specific bank manager, referencing details only a bank should know, and they trick you into handing over your login.
And the scale of this fraud can be staggering. Like, during the pandemic, the UK government launched the Coronavirus Job Retention Scheme.
Right, a massive fund.
Yeah, a £27 billion fund designed to keep people employed. And 9 men established a network of fake companies and attempted to defraud the government out of nearly £500,000.
£495,000 to be exact.
Unbelievable. Thankfully, the authorities caught them and stopped the theft.
Which is a relief.
But whether you lose everything to a sophisticated fraud ring or you build a massive fortune through crypto, the English language is fully equipped to describe the absolute extremes of wealth.
It is. So when you hit rock bottom, the language is brutally descriptive. You're not just poor, you are broke.
Or the more emphatic flat broke.
Right. You might also describe yourself as being hard up for cash.
And we also use phrases that highlight the sheer stress of survival. Like, living paycheck to paycheck means the moment your direct deposit hits, it's immediately swallowed by bills.
There is zero disposable income.
None. You might also be living on a shoestring, meaning your budget is as thin and tight as a lace on a shoe. Or living from hand to mouth.
Hand to mouth is a very visceral idiom.
Yeah, it is.
It implies there's no pantry, no storage, no piggy bank.
Wow.
The moment you acquire food or money in your hand, it goes directly into your mouth to keep you alive.
Wow.
But, it is vital to separate these conversational idioms from formal banking terms.
Right, because if I tell my friend I can't go to the movies because I'm broke, that's casual. But I can't call my mortgage lender and say, hey, I'm flat broke.
Precisely. In a formal context, the vocabulary shifts to severe legal realities. If you fail to make your required payments, you are defaulting on a loan.
Defaulting.
And if your debts entirely eclipse your ability to pay, you enter the legal process of filing for bankruptcy.
Let's flip the coin, though. What about the people who have it all?
The other extreme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you possess extreme wealth, conversational English labels you as well-off, or the very slangy, loaded.
Loaded, I like that one.
You might have deep pockets, meaning you can reach down endlessly for more cash. Or you have money to burn, which circles back to that money burning a hole in your pocket, but on a massive scale.
And if someone starts their lives living hand to mouth and ends up loaded, we describe their journey as a rags to riches story.
Rags to riches.
Which brings us to a critical cultural intersection. What do the extraordinarily wealthy actually do with their fortunes?
That is the realm of philanthropy, the act of giving massive sums of money to charities or public causes.
Right.
And the history of philanthropy is deeply complicated, right? Because the biggest givers didn't always start out as saints.
Far from it. In the late 19th century, America was dominated by the robber barons.
Industrialists like Andrew Carnegie in steel and Henry Ford in automobiles.
Exactly. They built unimaginable fortunes using ruthless, often completely unethical business tactics. They crushed unions and monopolized industries.
But then, as they approached the end of their lives, their philosophy shifted.
Because they realized you can't take the grand with you when you die.
Yeah, exactly. So they turned to philanthropy to secure their legacy. They used their vast wealth to build libraries, found universities, and fund public works that still operate today.
And we're seeing a modern evolution of the robber baron philanthropy today with tech billionaires.
Like Mark Zuckerberg.
Right. He publicly pledged to give away 99% of his Facebook shares, which were valued at $45 billion at the time.
$45 billion. That's incredible.
It is. And the motivation often shifts from legacy to future shaping. Zuckerberg noted he was inspired by the birth of his daughter, Max.
Oh, that's nice.
The stated goal of the philanthropy is to advance human potential and promote equality for the next generation. It really demonstrates how wealth, at its absolute peak, often attempts to re-engineer society itself.
We have covered an incredible landscape of vocabulary today, from the piggy bank to the blockchain.
We really have.
Let's do a rapid recap to lock these concepts in so you listening can start using them the minute this video ends.
All right, a quick review of the core concepts. We began with the budget, the vital map for managing your fixed income against your expenses.
The money flowing in versus the money flowing out.
Right. It forces you to brutally separate your basic needs from your wants, actively fighting off the temptation of impulse buys.
Then we looked at the psychology of spending. Are you the meticulous bargain hunter tracking down deals that are dirt cheap and going for a song?
Or is that cash burning a hole in your pocket, driving you to splurge and splash out on a luxury treat?
Exactly. We also navigated the social tension of the restaurant bill, the choice between generously deciding to foot the bill and saying, my treat,
versus the pragmatic approach of asking everyone to chip in and go Dutch.
And finally, we tracked the physical evolution of money, from the slang of bucks, quarters, and Canadian loonies to the digital realm of formal deposits.
The frictionless ease of tap and go, and the sophisticated dangers of OSINT fraud and malware.
The true value of this deep dive is practical application, grasping the nuance between being frugal and being a penny pincher.
Or knowing when to use formal terms like defaulting instead of informal slang like broke. That is what transforms your English.
It really does. It moves you from mere comprehension to authentic fluency. It takes the training wheels off.
Exactly. You are ready to handle a real conversation at a cafe, negotiate at a bank, or read the room during a business meeting.
You got this.
So, to leave you with a final thought to ponder as we close today, language itself is a form of currency.
Ooh, I like that.
Every new idiom or phrasal verb you master is a direct deposit into your own human potential. The question is, how rich is your linguistic bank account, and how are you going to spend your words today?
Spend them wisely.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. But before you go, we have a small task for you.
Just a little one.
Please like this video, make sure you subscribe to the Mini English Tips channel, and leave a comment below. We want you to use this new vocabulary.
Tell us what you thought about today's topic, or share your own personal goal. What are you saving up for?
Keep learning, keep investing in yourselves, and we will see you next time.